Hello and welcome to Woke Watch. And the story we're going to look at today involves the education system. So that should come as no surprise to anyone. Over in the USA, 2 schools in California have banned its students from attending a theatre production. Because earlier, when students and teachers attended said theatre production, the material they saw on the stage was so shocking, they were forced to leave halfway through the play. So what was it about the production that was so shocking? Well, according to the woke teachers, the depictions of violence and adult themes were too much to be witnessed by any child. So, dear viewer, brace yourself. The play that these innocent children had been forced to endure was Oliver, the musical based on Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. For fuck's sake. I'll concede that very young children, say 5 or 6 years old, probably would struggle to keep up with the plot. And that's because young children, there's no nice way of putting this, young children are thick. But some of these students were 14 years old. And the novel itself came out in 1838. It's been around for a while. And the film, the musical, it took the Oscar for Best Picture 54 years ago. There has never been a problem with Oliver. Except woke people need something to fucking cry about. The theatre company responsible for this production of Oliver stated they've been doing the same show for 22 years, adding that their version is much more child friendly. It's toned down. For example, in the film, the villain of the piece, Bill Sikes, is hung, whereas in their version, the audience just hears a gunshot from the wings. There's nothing visual. But still, the school staff managed to get offended. They said it was inappropriate for the children to witness people on the stage drinking gin. Well, in 19th century London, that was commonplace. And more to the point, the people on the stage won't be drinking gin. They'll be drinking water and pretending it's gin. Do woke people not understand how fucking acting works? Because surely, woke school teachers should be familiar with the concept of pretending to be something that you're not.
Not this, but that. Here's a gender-inclusive tip. A trans or non-binary person tells you that the language you're using to talk about them does not align with them or is not okay. Instead of getting upset or defensive, take it as a kindness to respect them, correct yourself, and move on. Trans and non-binary people are not a monolith, and not everyone uses or aligns with the same kind of language or terms. In general, it's best to just use the words that that person uses to describe themselves.
The school staff also took issue with the depiction of the Artful Dodger and other street urchins stealing. Again though, for the time period, this was commonplace, children working as pickpockets and cut purses. And to say that these themes are too mature, too adult. Well, many schools in the USA hold drills on what to do if there's an active shooter situation. How can it be too mature to watch someone pretending to steal when the next day at school they're working out what they have to do if one of their classmates turns up with a fucking assault rifle? However, there was no complaints about the one thing that's often seen as problematic with the story of Oliver Twist, and that's the character Fagin. Now, he exploits young children, he's a liar, a swindler and a thief. He's also the only Jewish character in the story. So, stealing and drinking are wrong, so children shouldn't be exposed to that. Anti-Semitism apparently is absolutely fine. But I will put money on it that the types of teachers who said that Oliver the Musical was too adult for children will be the same teachers who have pride flags up in their classrooms all year round, who have their own made-up idiotic pronouns on their name badges, the type of people who are pushing gender identity ideology onto very young children, young, impressionable minds. So which of these is more inappropriate for children? A group of actors pretending to be drunk in order to sing along with Nancy's song Papa, although that does actually have quite a raunchy meaning behind it? Or is it a teacher who spent months and years brainwashing children, telling them that if they're not 100% happy with how they feel in their own skin, there's a good chance that they're trans? Those children then being sent to gender-affirming therapists who will get them put on puberty blockers, which are the same chemicals they use to chemically castrate rapists. And having women, girls as young as 16, have their breasts removed. That has already happened. Or if we take the song, You've Got to Pick a Pocket or Two, is it better for children to see that to see that song being performed, singing and dancing, a song about petty theft? Or would it be better for them to be in a classroom where a teacher hands out illustrated material, books, explaining how to perform oral sex? That has also already happened with children as young as 6. I'll also wager that these woke educators are the same types of woke educators who helped get drag queen story time introduced to schools both in the USA and here in the UK, where drag artists turn up in full drag to read stories to very young children. Now, I've got nothing against adults going to drag shows. Personally, it's not for me. I see most drag as a over-sexualised, grotesque mockery of women performed by men, relying almost entirely on shock value. So once again, we see the blatant double standards of wokeness. There are teachers who say, I don't like that play, so the children can't see it, whilst there are other teachers demanding that they can sexualise and brainwash children into their bizarre cult. And just to clarify, I'm not taking a swipe at anyone in the LGBTQIA+ community. What I'm saying applies to everyone, regardless of their gender, their sexuality, whatever. If you are using your position of authority to groom children, hanging is too fucking good for you. And just briefly going back to drag queen story time, I recently saw an article entitled, Why do children need to be around drag queens? For me, that question's the wrong way round. Why does any drag queen need to be around children? That's the end of this video. I will say though, I really don't like musicals, because to me, if I found myself walking down the street, glanced over my shoulder, and everyone else had fallen into step, and people were doing backflips and cartwheels singing the same song that I was singing, I think I'd need to be sectioned. As ever, thanks for watching.